Welcome back to this video series. In this episode we will create the project section for our portfolio. So first we have to import the project's functional React component, which we already created, into the app.jsx. We also have to import it up here. And then when we save, you can see there's the project text which we have in this div right here. Then we need to create in the source directory a new folder called utils, and in this we will create a variables.js, and then we want to export a variable const called projects, which is an array, and inside of this array we have JavaScript objects which will be with curly brackets, and so in there we will store our project data. So our project needs a name, this is a string, and we can like portfolio, and then it needs a description, for this project, right? And then after the description we need a GitHub link, so the company can look at the code which we wrote for this project. And then if we deploy this project to a website, we could add a demo link, so a link to this deployed project. And then not every project can be deployed like a website, like for example if you make like some social media bot. So we don't always want to render this demo link or the button for the demo link. So we also need a variable which is a boolean, and it's true or false, and I will call this dlink. So if it's true, we will render the demo link button, and if it's false, we don't want to render it. So, and then you could just add your project. I will just add two other ones. I will copy paste them. You should add your own ones. Then after this we also need a new component in the components directory called project card.jsx. We also need a React functional component. Please be sure that the functional component, the function name of this starts with a capital letter, so React will notice this as a functional component. Then we also need a prop for this. So a prop is something which we can pass down. So if we import it into our project section later, we could add some data to this, and then we could access the data in the project card. So we do this by adding curly braces inside of the parameters part of the function, and our prop is called project. And so every time when we render the project card, we have to add the project prop, and then we can access the project prop. So I can demonstrate this. So we are just adding in there, we can add the project prop, or we can access it by adding curly braces, and inside of them we call the prop project. Then we save this and import it in the projects component, project card. And then, so this is the normal So if we do this, it won't render because we need to add our prop to the component. So we type in project, and it is inside of the self-closing bracket, and we're typing project equals, and then in curly braces we can add a string like test. And if we save this, you could see under there it is test under the project card, because right now it's like this formatted. So when this is working, we can add some styling and stuff. So first of all, the first div gets some styling, and we say it's a card from Daisy UI, card-border, and we say the border is 3 wide, and then we say the width is 90. It has a background from the base color 100, and the text should wrap. Then we will add another div. This also gets a class name, and we just say card-body. Then inside of this div we add an h2 element which also gets a class name, and we will say card-title. Then we can look at the variables. So in the title we want to add the name, so projects, and of course we in the JavaScript object we say the name of the project is stored under name. We access it with the curly brackets, and then we say project.name. Then underneath the h2 we add a p element, a paragraph. It doesn't get any class names, and we say this is the project.description. Then underneath the p tag we will render the buttons, and this div gets a class name with justify-n, so it is at the end of the card, and then we say card actions. Then in this div we will add an h element, and we'll say GitHub. This link element will get also a class name called button-primary, and because it's a link tag we need an href. So this is for the link, and because we are not defining the link in the project card, we need instead of a string we need the curly brackets because it's a variable which we are passing to this. And then we say project.link. That's where project GitHub link, yeah. I'm just GitHub link. And then underneath this we want to render the demo button, but we don't render it every time. We need an if statement, and so we got this variable which is our boolean. So we are checking if our variable, the boolean, is true. So we say project.dlink, and then you are making a question mark. So this is basically the if true, and then we will add an a tag. So and then after this a tag we add this, and then we will add an empty tag. So basically if this is true, it will render the a tag, and if it is if it isn't, it will render the empty, which is, also it won't render anything. Then for the A tag, it needs an href, but it isn't a string, it's a variable. So we need the curly brackets. Then we say project dot demo link. I think it was, yes, demo link. And it also gets a class name. And we also say button primary. And then for the text we can say demo. Then we save this and we can close this, and the variables also. So then for the projects, so first of all we need to import our projects list from the utils and variables. So we say projects from ... so we are going out of the components folder, and then we are saying /utils. So now we are in the utils folder /variables. And so for this import, I'm using curly brackets, and inside of these curly brackets the import, because it's not a default export. So if we would make this a default export, we could leave the brackets away. We could remove them, but it's not a default, so it needs the brackets to, yeah. Then we need to create a list. So we're saying const project list, and then we say projects dot map. So projects, that's what we imported, and because projects as a variable is an array, the array has a function map, and it iterates over every item in the array and does something with it. So inside of the map function we are defining an arrow function, and for this function we need two variables. First we say project, and second we say index. So the first one is basically the item which we are at the moment, and the second one is the index of the item. And then instead of curly brackets we will take the project card component and render this one, and then we need to set our prop for this. So we say project equal, in curly brackets, the project, which is this one, and then the index. So in React, if you are using the .map function, every item which you are adding to this list, which is created, needs a key argument. So we are using this like a prop, so we just say key equals, and then we are adding the index, so it is unique for everyone. So this key, we didn't define it as a prop in the project card, but we need it. And if we are not using this, we are getting an error. And which is also very important is that this index, or the value you are setting the key to, must be for every item individual. And then if we have the project list, then we can render it. So we can say in curly brackets, because it's a JavaScript variable, project list, and we can save this, and now you can see we have these three projects which we defined the variables .js file, and now we have to make it look better. So the first div, we are adding a class name, and we are saying width is full and the height is 100 viewport height. So we're just saying, yeah, from the viewport height we are using 100%. So it is for every different, so it gets the height of the screen which we are looking at the website, and then it adjusts the height for this automatically. And then we are saying margin top dash 20, and we need to make it a flex container and say flex column, which is the default value for this, but I'm just defining it also so the code is a little bit cleaner. Then we are saying items dash center, so it centers the item in the center of the vertical center of the component of the box. And then we are saying justify center, and that's the horizontal center. And then we are saying the background base dash 200, so it's a little bit darker. And then we are saying snap dash start. Then for the project list we are deleting this one because we need a little bit more stuff. Then we are adding a new div, and it also has a class name, and it has a margin bottom of 10, and inside of this div there is an h2 element which says projects, and this h2 also has a class name, and this says text 3xl, so it's bigger than a normal paragraph, and it says overline. So what this overline does is it adds a line over the projects, over the text. So it's a text decoration line, you can see it over there. Then under this div we are adding another div. This one also has a class name, and now we are saying that this div is a grid, and it has 3 columns, so it has 3 columns. And then we are saying on small devices this grid has 1 column, so on phones there's just 1 column and not multiple, and they are glitching out of the screen and stuff like that. And then we are saying on large devices there are 2 columns, and on extra large devices there are 3. So we are back to the 3, and then we say gap dash 3, so between every item there's a gap of 3. And then beneath inside of this div we are adding our project list in curly brackets. Project list. And now you could see we have these 3, and they have some grid structure because we defined it as a grid. And now if we are making the browser bigger, you can see that they are going inside of the 3 columns, and if we are making it smaller, now they are 2, so now we have a large screen, and this would be an extra large. And then if we make it really small, it goes in 1 column. So this was it for this video. If you liked it, leave a like, subscribe, or write a comment. and see you next time.